His MVP. Golf swing, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. One swing. High drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field. Way back there. Shot again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you on a Wednesday night, middle of the offseason, ready to talk some ball. Texas Rangers finally making some moves. We're here to talk about them. Welcome, Kyle Higashioka. It's going to be an interesting next couple of months, seeing what the Rangers can piece together. We're looking forward to it. We're going to talk about some other roster moves the Rangers have made, and then just talk some free agent hot stove as well. It's going to be great. Thanks for joining us. Of course, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during the MLB offseason. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Welcome to the show. I know I've got some people coming in on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Welcome to all y'all. Let's get right into it. So the Rangers signed Kyle Higashioka to a 2-year deal, and we're going to get into some of the different specifics of that deal, some incentives mixed in there as well. I think that it's the right move. We talked a lot in the middle of the season, and especially already in this offseason. We talked about the need for the Rangers to upgrade the catching position. As much as we all love Jonah Heim, as much as we all appreciate the season that he had in 2023, you're talking about a Jonah Heim that was a Gold Glove winner in 2023. You're talking about a Jonah Heim that started the All-Star game in 2023. You're talking about a Jonah Heim that led all major league catchers in RBI in 2023 with 95. Jonah Heim was a freaking stud in the Rangers World Series year. And what came after that, I don't think anybody could have expected. I think we all could have naturally assumed maybe there's going to be some level of regression, but I don't think any of us predicted Jonah Heim essentially being the worst offensive player in baseball in 2024. And that's not hyperbole. Like, you look at the advanced stats, they were actually talking about this at the end of the Rangers season. Jonah Heim barely did not qualify for worst offensive player in baseball stats-wise. Had he had like 10 more at-bats, he would have qualified for the worst offensive player in ball in 2024. Hard to say that out loud considering the year that he had in 2023, but this was a much-needed move. Much-needed move. Kyle Higashioka brings power. He's a guy that hit 17 home runs last year in like 80 games. 17 homers in 80 games. And it sounds like, from what Fenstermaker is saying, of course, Fenstermaker, Rangers GM, promoted with the Rangers, promoting Chris Young to president of baseball operations. They're going to be receiving equal playing time. Jonah Heim, Kyle Higashioka, they're going to get equal playing time. They came out and said that pretty much right away in the press conference. I don't know how I'm feeling if I'm Jonah Heim. I guess good that I still have a job, but who wants to have a replacement, essentially? Not completely a replacement, but a guy brought in to clean up the mess where you weren't able to totally get the job done. I can't imagine Jonah Heim's feeling great on a day like today. Probably thankful he still has a job, but I can't imagine he's feeling awesome. And Jonah knows, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out last year was just not acceptable for Major League standards. It wasn't. And the Rangers didn't have a lot of better options. They tried to upgrade with Carson Kelly later on in the season. It was not working out well with Andrew Kisner in the backup role. The Rangers had a very, very deep void to fill at the catching position based on the results that they got out of their catchers in 24. And I'm glad that Kyle Higashioka signs with the Rangers. Let's look at the specifics of the deal. Just a moment, we'll do that. Want to say what's up to everybody on TikTok tuning in. I see a couple people have already followed. What's up, by the way, if you are here based on some of my lives from the weekend, y'all know I do a little more than just the Rangers here at Right on Rangers. We talk Dallas Cowboys, Texas Longhorns, pretty much all the teams I love from the great state of Texas. So appreciate all of y'all tuning in today. It's going to be a great night. We're going to have some fun talking Rangers ball. Let me keep on going to comments here. I'm going to check comments real quick. Then we're going to dig into the contract for Kyle Higashioka. Already kind of started talking about that deal, that move a little bit. Rangers finally do something, I would say, worthwhile, worth our attention in the offseason. I can't say anything up to this point was really that exciting. Dane Dunning signs for 20% below what he was making last year. I don't know how much that's really news, but that was pretty much it. The Rangers made a few other moves we'll talk about as well, but let me get into comments here. Aaron, what's up, my guy? I'm assuming you maybe heard a little bit of my reaction to Higashioka a little bit earlier in the show. I'll talk more about that as well. By and large, I think it's a great move. Rangers signing Kyle Higashioka from the Padres last year. Higashioka had I think he had 3 home runs in the 2 series that the Padres played in against the Braves and the Dodgers. Had a big home run against the Dodgers that ultimately won them the game. I think that was like game 1 or game 2 of the Padres-Dodgers series. So, look, the man has come up in big spots, and he's got some power, hit 17 bombs in like 84 games. I mean, look, give that guy 162. You wonder what he could do. With catchers, a lot of the times you do go back and forth, like, do they need to be fresh in order to produce? Like, in other words, is the reason why he hit 17 bombs because he didn't play all that many games and he was well rested and not overused? I think that could be a valid argument. Still, you play the numbers game, 17 bombs in 84 games? It's impressive. It's impressive. And with what we got from Jonah Heim last year, I don't know how you're not happy about the Rangers upgrading this position at least a little bit. So he had a total of 84 games, 263 at-bats, hit 17 homers, drove in 45 RBI. Let's see what the OBP is. 220 average, 263 OBP. The OPS was a very respectable 739. Look, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I don't know how it's going to play out with the Rangers. I think he's going to get about this many at-bats in the 2025 season, if I had to guess, based on Fenstermaker saying that Heim and Higashioka are going to be getting equal playing time. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited about the move. They needed to do something with the catching position. I thought maybe they were going to go with the approach of backup catcher, like Heim maybe still gets 2/3 or even 3/4 of the starts. Fenstermaker coming out and basically saying equal playing time. And I'm sure if Heim continues his dip, his descent, if you will, I'm not going to be shocked if Higashioka gets more ABs, especially if he continues to hit like he did last year. So good move overall for the Rangers, in my opinion. Good move overall. Tristan, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, very much ready for that Longhorns game on Saturday. It's going to be good. Georgia, Texas, SEC championship. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back on Saturday doing a live after the Longhorns game. If you're a football fan, an SEC fan, a Longhorns fan, come back on Saturday. We'll talk a little Texas Longhorns, Georgia Bulldogs, SEC championship. Let me keep going here. Aaron says, we did need a good power hitter, secondary catcher, though. Yeah, I agree. Maybe a guy in Higashioka, if he's hot, if he is on a on one, you know what I mean, on one of those really good hitting streaks, maybe you try and entertain a DH for him potentially here and there, meaning he gets some DH opportunities. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, all this is speculation right now, but we know equal playing time with Jonah Heim. And you can imagine if he is hitting well and hitting for power in 2025, I would think the Rangers would at least be interested in him being a potential DH in certain spots throughout the year. Keep going here. Kale, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. I'm fine with them splitting time. They needed to make an upgrade at the position. My only concern is what they do with the other catcher when they aren't starting, meaning that the other catcher shouldn't be the DH. We don't need two catchers in the lineup every day. I like the move as they're helping Heim, but they're also pushing him. They're letting him know that 2024 won't cut it. If Evan Carter wasn't so poor in 2024, that same message would be sent to Leote and Adolis. Thank you so much for the comment. Greatly appreciate it. Look, I'm not a big fan of two catchers in the lineup either. I don't know what the Rangers are going to do free agent-wise with their offense the rest of the way. I don't know if we're going to see any kind of significant acquisition. I'm not sure. I think it's a total wait and see. We see what happens with the media deal, with the Rangers streaming service, whatever they're coming up with, and what revenue potentially comes from that. I'm not holding my breath. I'm really not. I don't know if the Rangers are really going to be making any big pushes, any big signings when it comes to the offense. I think they're going to continue to try and shore up the pitching. I just don't know about the offense. We will see. Time will tell. But I agree with the general principle. It's not great when you've got two catchers in a lineup. However, if Higashioka is raking, if the guy is hitting for power, I really don't know how you're going to keep him out of the lineup. I see some people on TikTok commenting, basically, he's gotten better almost every year. Let me see if the stats back that up. As you look at the numbers here, looks like a steady increase, I would say. Took a little bit of a dip after the COVID year. That was just a weird year in general, though. I really don't take that with any kind of seriousness. But look, 2021, he hits 180. 2022, 227, 2023, 236 average, dips back down to 220 in 2024. But look, let's look at the home run totals. 10 bombs in 21, 22, and 23 apiece, 17 bombs in 2024. So steadily, I would say, with those power numbers showing consistency, I like that. I do like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see if the Rangers add anybody else, but I definitely feel like a message needed to be sent to Heim. Going back to the comment that I just read off, you had to communicate 2024 was not going to cut it. I mean, I don't think you needed to tell Jonah that for him to get it, but it was not a good year for Rangers. Former Gold Glove winner, former All-Star Game starting catcher, Jonah Heim. Let me get some comments here. I'm going to scroll back on TikTok here. Appreciate y'all being patient. Thanks for hanging out. Let me get back to the very top here. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. We'll sift through, get all the good stuff out there for everybody to chew on, talk about. Welcome, everybody. Hunter, what's up, man? Higgy being fluent in Japanese is intriguing to me. Bring me Roki. They kind of mentioned that it was Radigan, wasn't it? They were interviewing Kyle after the signing, kind of like the Bally crew was, I guess, for lack of a better expression. And they did bring up, hey, you know some Japanese, maybe could that be instrumental in Roki Sasaki coming over to the Rangers? Who knows? Kyle was quick to point out he's not exactly fluent. He knows the language a fair amount, but not necessarily fluent, perfect Japanese. But nevertheless, I do think that maybe that could be a factor. You go to a team, if you're Roki Sasaki, that has a Japanese player, there's got to be a level of comfort there. At this point, I don't want to read into it too much, but I do like it, and I do think that it could potentially be a factor. We'll see what happens. Let me keep on going here. See what else we got here for comments. Appreciate all y'all tuning in once again. What other offseason transactions am I thinking? Thanks for the comment. Appreciate you. At this point, here's what I'm thinking. Find a way to upgrade the starting pitching, whether you get Evo back or whether you go and sign someone else, a Max Fried, I don't know. Find a way to upgrade the starting pitching. Look, I'm having nightmares still about the Rangers starting pitching in 2024. Look, not that I hated any of the guys who were in the rotation, but we just were injured. Every other week there was an injury. I just don't know how much you can really rely on who we have right now. You've got Jacob deGrom, not exactly the epitome of health. I love deGrom, love me some Jacob deGrom, but I can't say I'm super, super confident he's going to go all of 2025 without any kind of stint on the IL. I hope that's not the case, but I'm just not sure that I can say that I feel confident that's going to happen. You think about a guy like Tyler Mahle. He spent a lot of time on the injured list last year as well. Looked good when he was pitching for the Rangers, but again, not a guy I really can count on to stay healthy the whole year. Then you've got John Gray, same thing. You've got Dane Dunning. He had some time on the injury list, and he was not very good this last year. You've got Cody Bradford. He spent some time on the injury list. Look, you've got a lot of guys on the Rangers starting rotation right now that have not proven themselves to be able to stay healthy consistently. Maybe 2024 was an anomaly, but I will say I think they have got to improve and get more depth at the starting pitching spot. Whether you get Evo back some way, somehow, or you go out and you bring in somebody new outside of the organization, I would like to see a little bit more than just a depth guy, like a fourth or fifth starter. I'd like to see a number 2, a number 3 caliber starter. The other thing that we have to talk about, Kumar Rocker absolutely lit it up in his major league debut, and they kind of had him on an innings limit, but looked definitely the part that he could be a number 1, a number 2 guy in this league one day. That being said, I don't think I'm putting all the eggs in the Kumar Rocker basket at this point. Like, I'm counting on him to be in the rotation next year, but I don't think you can sit there and count on him being a bona fide number 2 starter in Major League Baseball without even a month of experience in the big league. So I think they've got to improve the starting pitching depth. I'm assuming that they're going to kind of piecemeal the bullpen together. You've already seen them kind of make some little moves here and there, bullpen related. I would imagine they're going to do more of the same there. I doubt they're going to go sign a big name reliever. Maybe they get Robertson or Yates back, but I don't think they're going to go out and get anybody big name, anybody that's going to be costing double-digit millions. Yates and Robertson right now, it's kind of projected that both of those guys are going to be in the double-digit millions mark. So we'll see what happens with the bullpen. I think it's going to be a little bit of a piecemeal together, and then maybe they go out and get a couple of dudes to fill out the starting rotation. That's my thoughts on offseason transactions. Appreciate the comment. As a Cubs fan, I'm just wondering, interest in Cody Bellinger for Jonah Heim. Look, didn't Cody Bellinger have a pretty good year last year? I mean, I think Cody Bellinger had a decent season, did he not? I mean, maybe I'm just dreaming that. 266 batting average, 78 RBI, 18 homers. I mean, look, very respectable. 325 OBP, 751 OPS. I don't know that we'll gladly take that trade. I think most Rangers fans would say, absolutely, give me Cody Bellinger for Jonah Heim straight up. I don't think the Cubs are doing that trade, though. Cody Bellinger had a really, I think, pretty solid year. Look, is he worth the money that the Cubs are paying him? No, these numbers are not worthy of what he's getting paid. 2.2 WAR, and he's making what, 25 million or something? I mean, it's a pretty penny. And he opted into his deal. He had one of those weird opt-out deals like you saw with Chapman and a lot of the other Boris clients, but I think Cody Bellinger had a decent year. I would gladly take Cody Bellinger's 2024 over Jonah Heim's. That is for sure. I want to actually look at some Jonah Heim numbers right now. What was the WAR for Jonah Heim I mean, did he even get positive? Okay, he was 1.1 WAR. Belly was 2.2. Jonah was 1.1. That's got to be from defense. Jonah Heim 1.1 WAR. That's got to be from defense. Lord knows the offense. I know he had a couple of big home runs. Like I remember in Boston this last year, he had a pretty big home run in the late innings. I know he walked off. Was it opening day? He walked it off. So maybe he's getting some WAR from those wins. But Jonah Heim, look, 1.1 WAR, not super ideal. The defense took a dip as well. He wasn't throwing guys out very consistently at all. In fact, it was league worst. I think a lot of Rangers fans are going to take Jonah Heim for Cody Bellinger straight up. For real. All right, let's keep going. One-hit wonders. We'll see. We'll see what 2025 brings. That is the tired rebuttal for the Rangers, if you will. The tired diss, the Rangers one-hit wonders, fluke, whatever. Look, I've talked that point over and over. I'm not going to get on a rant. At least I'm going to try not to. But I think the Rangers are still a really quality team. It's crazy that it felt like they were so bad. Like it felt like the Rangers were terrible, like abysmal in 2024. And yet, like it was August and they still had a shot for the playoffs. Like it was late August and we were still kind of like within striking distance. Like, hey, we could go on a run and maybe make this happen. That's how, like, I don't know. How do I say this? That's how much parity there was in MLB. I felt like, at least in our division, like Houston never felt like a great team to me. And I know I sound like a hater because I do not like the Astros at all. But I never felt like the Astros were going anywhere in the postseason. Sure enough, they get knocked out first round. The Mariners never felt like a great team. In fact, they were one of the worst offensive teams in baseball, batting average wise. There's a lot of parity, I think, in our division. I don't think there's a juggernaut in the division right now. So if the Rangers can be even like maybe 15 to 20% better in 2025, maybe even not that much, you could be looking at a much different outcome when it comes to the end of the season. Let me keep going. Is Jack Leiter finished? Appreciate the comment. I can't say, guys, that I'm a big Jack Leiter enthusiast. I really want Jack to work out. I really do. I'm just not feeling super confident about it. I feel like he absolutely has the potential, the ability, but we just haven't seen it translate. Like I can't understand why the Rangers would have drafted him if he didn't have any intangibles, didn't have any skill sets that were major league level, second overall pick in that draft. I don't understand that. So I got to go with the skills are there. The attributes are there. He's just not getting it done on the field. So Jack Leiter, I kind of think this is a make or break year for him. I don't think the Rangers are going to just stroll through the park with Jack Leiter being terrible again. I think that if he is struggling early, he'll get sent down. I would imagine he makes the opening day roster unless they just go out and get a handful of new pitchers coming into the organization. But I'd imagine Leiter starts out on the opening day roster, maybe in the bullpen, maybe as a long relief guy, maybe as the fifth starter. You see him struggle, he's going to get sent down. And if it doesn't work out this year, like if you don't see any kind of consistency from him, I really do feel like it's either going to be try to trade or there's going to be some kind of straight up release. I look at Wenzel. Wenzel was a first round draft pick for us 4 or 5 years ago. Davis Wenzel came up, played probably like a third of the season with us and just looked terrible. He was a first round draft pick. In fact, if you've been watching with me, you'll hear me every single time I bring up Davis Wenzel. You'll hear me lament the fact that Gunnar Henderson, who's now with the Baltimore Orioles, had a great year last year and's been great since he's come up in the bigs. He was the very next draft pick after Davis Wenzel. So, look, the Rangers totally botched that draft pick. But look, Wenzel, first round pick, he's gone. He's not here anymore. So I don't think Jack Leiter's rope is just limitless. I think eventually he is going to get the heave-ho. So I think 2025 is a make or break year for Jack. me keep going here. Appreciate the comments. Hyman Garver split 70-40 and we won a World Series. Look, I think that is what they're trying to go back to. I think the management realizes Jonah Heim, when given a full workload, just was not himself. And the Rangers just didn't have good enough depth at the catcher position. But you go back to Jonah Heim. I'm going to see if I can pull back up the numbers real quick on him. Let's see how many games, ABs he had. I think what we're going to see is that he had probably the most at-bats that he's ever had in his career. And I was right, 459 at-bats in 2024, most in his career. Now, to be fair, he had 457 in 2023. So the angle that he was like overworked, he played pretty much the same amount of games. In fact, he played the exact same amount of games. He played 131 in 2023, and he played 131 in 2024. So I don't know. I mean, the numbers don't lie. As I'm reading those numbers and processing it right now here with you, I don't know if we can really use the excuse Jonah Heim was overworked this year. He didn't have Garver. He literally played the exact same amount of games. So I don't know if I can sit here and blame it on being overworked. Maybe you could blame it on long 2023 season, a lot of games going all the way to the World Series. But the angle that last year, like the Garv-Heim split, was more ideal. They basically had the same split for Jonah Heim this year, except they had Kisner and then Carson Kelly holding it down as the backup. Keep going here. Appreciate. Let's see. James, what's up? Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Coach H, appreciate you. Hello, hello. What can the Cards do to save their org? We're suffering here. Cardinals, look, they're about to trade Nolan Arenado. I mean, Goldschmidt's gone. They got to find some new blood, whether it's in or outside the organization. Look, they've got some young, promising talent, Mason Wynn, guys like that. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be a great 2025. I'm not trying to be overly negative, but my goodness. Let's talk about that. Coach H, if you're still hanging out, appreciate you bringing up the golden at bat. Did y'all hear about this? The golden at bat. So Rob Manfred floating this idea that one time in a game, you would be able to pick any of your hitters 1 through 9 or on the bench, I suppose. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it's available. You'll be able to pick one time in the game where you can have any hitter come up at any moment and take whoever player is coming up in that spot's at bat. Don't know how like the runners would work or anything like that. But the idea is you would get to choose your best batter to go in for one at bat, ideally in big RBI spot or in a big clutch moment in the game. And it's going to be called the golden at bat. They're floating it around. It's not going to happen this year. I don't know how I feel about it. For me, it feels a little gimmicky. I'm not going to sit here and say I hate the idea, but it just feels a little gimmicky. I already hate the ghost runner rule that they do in extra innings. Some of y'all that have been with me for a long time, you know this. I don't want to get off on the ghost runner rule. I've done plenty of live shows, reels, shorts, railing on the ghost runner rule. I just don't love it. I feel like it gets away from the original game. And look, I'm not a baseball purist and like, you shouldn't have replay. You should never have any kind of robo umpires. But the game itself, like the rules of the game itself, I'm not a big fan of changing those. You start doing golden at bat, it just starts getting kind of game show weird to me. So I'm not a big fan of golden at bat. I think it's like a cool concept to float and to talk about and debate about. But in terms of actually implementing it, I would much rather them keep the game as it is and not do something wonky and weird. Again, feels like you're watching a game show, not a professional sport at some point when you're doing stuff like that. The ghost runner concept, I know they're trying to save, pitchers' arms and shorten the length of games. look, there was nothing wrong with the extra innings the way that they were. Yeah, occasionally you get a 17, 18, 19 inning game, but who cares? It's always actually, I mean, for me, it's kind of fun sometimes seeing how far and how long they can go. Look, I would be more open to them ending in a tie than I would be them doing the ghost runner rule. That's just me. I know they do that over in some of the Asian leagues. I think it's in the Korean league. They end in a tie like after 11 innings. I'd rather them end in a tie than screw up guys' ERAs and win-loss totals. Like, I hate that as a pitcher, you go in the ghost runner inning and you give up that run, you get saddled with the loss. I mean, I know wins and losses for pitchers aren't as big of a deal as they once were, but I just don't like that it kind of starts getting the game off to a spot where you're not really being true to the roots and to the numbers and the stats. Baseball, such a statistic driven sport. I just feel like with golden at bat, with the ghost runner rule and extras, you're really kind of changing the game and making it more like a game show, just gimmicky. Not my most favorite thing. I don't think that they will probably do it. Maybe they will. If they do, it's not like I'm going to boycott the sport. I'll gladly still watch Major League Baseball, but just not my preference. Not my preference. Let me keep going here. We'll keep going. Down, down, down. Let me see here. I got to scroll back up. I hate that. It always pops me back up to the top if I scroll wrong with the comments. Let's see. We have historically missed on first-round picks. It's true. The Rangers, they've gotten some first-round picks right, but we have gotten a lot of first-round picks wrong. Appreciate the follow, by the way. Let's see. Sounds like they're rebuilding in St. Louis. Yeah, I think they got to. I mean, you're losing Goldschmidt, Arenado. You've got some young talent coming up, but you lost Edman as well. He just signed with the Dodgers. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Golden at bat would damage the integrity of the game. Yeah, I agree. I just think, like, do the technology stuff. Like, I'm here for a strike zone challenge. Like, I'm here for maybe some robo umping in the future. I don't think that's changing the game per se. If anything, it's making the game more fair and more true. When you have terrible calls by umpires, it can ruin games. It can ruin seasons. It can ruin players' numbers for a given season. I'm not a big fan of, hey, the human error in the game. Let's keep it around. I would much rather them get it right. You get a more true result that way. I don't think that's changing the game over the top, though. Let me keep going here. Thoughts on the Pirates and any moves they will or should make? Well, I will say this about the Pirates. I don't pretend to know the organization or all the needs that they have, but I will say this. When you've got a player like Paul Skeens, a guy who is a 100% ace, potentially going to be a Hall of Famer. I know that maybe that seems stupid to even say potentially with the year that he had, but here's my point. You don't want to waste Paul Skeens' years. You want to maximize Paul Skeens and what he is giving you right now on a rookie contract. And obviously, arbitration for Skeens is going to be tough. He's going to be commanding some dollars, tens of millions in arbitration when he gets there. But he's got a while before he gets there. The Pirates have to find a way to maximize the Paul Skeens years. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I know that they need to maximize the time they have with Paul Skeens. Where do I see Bregman going? I don't think Bregman is going to re-sign with the Astros. I think he's commanding a contract that goes above and beyond what the Astros are wanting to pay. I just hope he goes out of division. I just want to see him go out of the division. It's not like he was like a Rangers killer last year or anything, but look, I just want to see baseball talent leave the AL West unless it's coming to the Rangers. I want to see baseball talent leave the AL West from the other teams. So I think that Bregman is probably going to just hold out for whoever's going to give him the most money. Based on the initial reports, I think he's kind of wanting like a Manny Machado-esque deal. We're talking double-digit years. $30 million a year, that kind of thing. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that or not, but I don't think that Bregman is trying to take a hometown discount for Houston. We'll see where he ends up. I am excited to see where some of these chips start falling with some of these big major leaguers. You've heard Juan Soto. He's eliminating teams and starting to narrow it down. You've got the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox still in the mix, the Dodgers. Of course, we're going to talk about the Dodgers here in a little bit. Rich getting richer. But I'm excited to see some of these moves start to get made. I've complained the past couple of shows. MLB offseason just takes way too long to get started. I wish they would figure out some kind of way to kickstart MLB free agency. NBA does it great. There's so much drama and suspense. That deadline hits or whatever, the moratorium period lifts, and you get all these texts from all the NBA reporters reporting deals. Baseball, it's crickets for like a month, right? The World Series has been over for like a month, and we still really haven't had a ton of huge deals here and there. Yes, but it's like so slow paced. You just wish that the MLB hot stove, the offseason, could find a way to pick up more. I know I sure do. So we'll see what happens with Bregg. I'm interested, real curious to see what happens with Soto. Looks like there's some people reporting Boston. There was kind of a reporter war going on. A few people reporting early that Juan Soto was going to be signing with the Red Sox. Then Jeff Passan and Only and all those guys came out and said, nope, he hasn't signed with anybody yet. Those reports are false. So you got some reporter warring going on there. Who's going to break the story first? Whatever. I mean, I don't care that much, but I'm very curious to see what happens with Soto. Going to be interesting. Keep going here. Appreciate all the comments. Thank you so much. Natalie, if you're still hanging out, the comment here says, that's why I put Rocker and Leiter and more in the fourth or fifth starter role, even bullpen, to get them comfortable. I do think that's the move. This is kind of going back to something that I was saying earlier on in the show. I really don't think you want to put the pressure on Kumar Rocker to be like your number 2 or number 3. You want to keep him, maybe 3 or at the most. I would say 4 is probably the sweet spot. Maybe you have Leiter 5. I don't think you want to put the pressure on Rocker to be this dude that's up at the top of the rotation with DeGrom. I don't think they're going to do that, but nevertheless, I think it's worth saying out loud. Rocker's only pitched 1 inning in Major League Baseball. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to come out in 2025 and just kill it. You hope that's what happens, but you just can't say that based on a very small sample size, 1 month, of work. It's a small body of work. So I'm curious to see how Rocker comes out in spring training. I think that he's got the stuff to be an ace in this league. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I mean, you probably said Jack Leiter has the stuff to be an ace in this league. That hasn't even come close to happening yet. So we'll see how it goes. We shall see. All right. Rangers also drop Sandro Fabian. Fabian got a few at-bats here and there in the 2024 season. Was a guy that showed promise at different points in his minor league career, but Sandro Fabian dropped. So Rangers kind of clearing a little room outfield-wise. So they had a lot of outfielders last year. You're talking log jam. It just was way too many. And I think that it's good on the Rangers to start slowly thinning it out a little bit there. So right now, you figure Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, Adolis Garcia, you got some other young guys, Dustin Harris, Leody Taveras clearly is probably going to be a guy that's a staple in the lineup, at least against lefties, at least against righties. I know that he basically was unplayable against lefties last year, but Leody, you'll probably see him in there against right-handed pitching this year. You don't need a whole lot else other than that. You don't need to carry 3 outfielders, in my opinion. I think that's way too many. So I think that they did well to start offloading. Who knows? I hope Fabian doesn't go on to become a 25-100 guy. somewhere else with another team. I don't know if anybody else picked him up at this point. I'll check out his numbers and see if anybody did end up signing him. Did not get any hits for the Rangers this last year. And it looks like, I don't know, looks like, is he headed to Japan? Looks like he is headed to Japan. They signed, looks like the Hiroshima Toyo Carp of Nippon Professional Baseball have signed Fabian to a 3-year contract. So Sandro Fabian goes to Japan on a 3-year deal worth more than $5 million. Look, you're making over $1 million a year to play the great game of baseball. I've been to Japan a couple of different times. It's a beautiful country. The culture there, the people, outstanding. So look, it'll be an experience for him. We wish him the best. The Rangers did well, though. They need to start clearing out that outfield space. They got way too many. If you're keeping Leote, you're bringing back Evan Carter off the injured list. You got Wyatt. You've got Adolis. You've already got a number of guys there. You really don't need any more outfield. It's just going to start getting too crowded. Do I think Krim will get picked up in the Rule 5? I think that there's a good chance of it, only because Krim had a really solid season for the AAA team for Round Rock last year. So I'll look up the numbers. Let's see if I can get those up for you guys. But I think he had close to 20 homers. I think that he had like 70-ish RBI. I'll see if I can pull up the minor league stats here. Let's see, 2024 Round Rock. 20 homers, 86 RBI. I was close with the homers, underestimated a little bit on the RBI. 20 bombs, 86 RBI for Blaine Krim. I don't know. I'm just like thinking out loud here. I just feel like most GMs are going to look at a guy that goes 20-86 and say, he might be worth taking a shot on. I was a little surprised that the Rangers didn't protect him and add him to the 40-man, but I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know if anybody's asked them straight up, like, why didn't you protect Blaine Krim and add him to the 40? I don't know. But I think for whatever the reason is, you hope it's a good one. A guy hitting 20-86 down to AAA, 840 OPS. I don't particularly and completely get leaving Blaine Krim off the 40. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get lucky and nobody will pick him up. Rule 5 draft, by the way, I've got the dates written down here. Rule 5 draft is December 11th. So that's actually going to work out great because, as y'all know, I do my Rangers show every Wednesday. So this will be perfect. Little draft party. Let's see who the Rangers pick up. A week from today, Wednesday, Rule 5 draft. It's going to be great. Hopefully the Rangers, maybe they pick up a couple of guys. Maybe they pick up a couple of promising bullpen pieces in AAA. You'd love to see something like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited, though. Rule 5 draft a week from today, December 11th. We'll see. See what the Rangers have in mind, and we'll see what other teams might have in mind for some of the Rangers players. We'll keep going here. What do I think we'll do at first base? I'm thinking Lowe is going to be the guy. I think the September that he had saved him, though. I think we all got to be real. The September that Nate Lowe had saved his job. Had he not had the scorching hot September finish to the year that he had, I think we might be talking about another first baseman right now. But I think the end of the season, the strong finish, it ends up saving his job. And I think for the price that we're going to get Nate Lowe at, which is at about $10 million a year, that's kind of a bargain for what you can get out of Lowe, who gives you about 75 RBI every season, hits about 250. He was, I think, our second best hitter behind Corey Seager, technically. So I think we got to be good with Nate Lowe. He's a Gold Glover, and he's a guy that you can count on to play a really good first base. You just hope you get a faster start out of Nate Lowe. That was the killer with so many Rangers players last year. The starts were just so dang slow coming out of the gate. You had Corey Seager starting slow. You had Wyatt Langford looking terrible right out of the gate. And look, some of those are understandable. Seager coming off the hernia surgery in spring training. Wyatt Langford, a rookie, figuring it out. But then you had other guys, Jonah Heim, everybody, it felt like, started off a little slow, besides Josh Young, who then promptly got injured after a super hot first week of the season in 2024. So I think we got to be good with Nate Lowe to bring it all back together here. I think he plays a good first base for you, and he's a consistent bat. Like, is he the 25 homer, 100 RBI guy that maybe you'd like to have out of your first baseman? No. But can you pretty much pencil him in for about 20 homers and 75 RBI? Yes, you can. And he's shown that consistently over his last 4 or 5 seasons with the Rangers. All right, y'all. Let's keep things rolling. Let me go back, check out comments, make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Thank you to all of y'all, though, for all the comments that you put in so far. Helps keep the show fresh. I love going back and forth, taking y'all's questions. It's a great part of the show. A big reason why I started this channel. Wanted to talk sports, wanted to talk the sports and the teams that I love with all of you good people. So know how much I appreciate you guys. If you're watching, whether you're live or on the replay and you're not following the account yet, you're not subscribed to the channel, would greatly appreciate if you hit that follow or subscribe button. Stay up to date with all of our latest and greatest content and get notified every time we post or go live. Would greatly appreciate that. So next week, once again, December 11th, Rule 5 draft. We will be back here on that day to talk about potentially players that got swooped up from the Rangers, that got left unprotected, that did not get added to the 40-man. And we'll also see who the Rangers decide to pick up from other teams. So it'll be a good day. I think the draft should be wrapped up by the time we go live. So we'll be able to talk Rule 5 draft, who the Rangers got and who they lost as well. And maybe there'll be some more free agent deals by then. Who knows? We'll be back on Saturday to talk SEC championship game, Texas Longhorns versus the Georgia Bulldogs, a rematch from mid-October in Austin. Bulldogs won that one 30-15. Should be a good game. And then we will be back on Monday night to talk some Dallas Cowboys football. The Cowboys play the Cincinnati Bengals this week on Monday night. So we'll be back for a live on Monday as well. So we got Saturday, we got Monday, we got Wednesday. It's going to be good stuff. Appreciate all of y'all joining me. I'm going to sign off for tonight. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.